So today I wanted to show you how to do kale chips, or how I do it. First of all, I like using this kale. It's called lacinato kale, or I think Tuscan kale. I don't like the curly kale. This is the kale that I like. So this is what I use. So I take a damp paper towel or a cloth and I wipe. I look and I make sure that there are no critters or dust or whatever, and I wipe it off, and then I peel it off. I do this. It's very easy. Just pull it like this off the stem. And what I like about this as well, because it's a flat leaf, when it's dried out in the oven for the chips, it's really like you eating chips, like you would eat potato chips or something. So this is why I like it. And then I would tear it some more, and that's it. I mean, I clean this off. I pull it out like this. Very easy. This is a huge leaf. You wipe it off. Make sure you wipe it off and you look and see if there's anything that you need to take off from there. So here we have our kale that I tore up, about this size. Okay, and it's in the pan. I try not to put too much in the pan, because then it would actually steam, and then you would have to keep going into the oven and turning it around and making sure that it's all dry. So I try not to do too much. Now, kale is on Dr. Sebi's list, and kale is one of the healthiest green and vegetable that you can eat. It is filled with folic acid, vitamin C, vitamin A, and it's good for you. Okay, so instead of eating potato chips, you should try to make some kale chips and eat kale chips. So there are only two things that you put on this: some oil and some salt, and that's it. So I'm going to use grapeseed oil, or you can use avocado oil. So what I do is I sprinkle the oil like this. I sprinkle the oil like this. I would say about a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of oil. And I also sprinkle some salt, maybe a teaspoon of salt. A teaspoon of salt. Because I like my chip very salty. You don't have to put a teaspoon of salt. Like I always say, it's salt to taste. Salt and pepper to taste. And then I take my fingers and I try to get the oil and the salt all over the pieces of kale. As you would see, you can see the oil is coating the kale, and it's starting to look shiny. And then you would put this in what I do is, because I've tested this over time, and this is how it works for me, and I get really crispy kale chips, because the point is you have to let this dry out. And what I wanted to say is that it has to feel, when you're walking around in the fall and you push your feet through the leaves on the sidewalk, and that sound that it makes when you're walking through the leaves in the park or on the sidewalk, this is how it's supposed to sound like when you're getting ready to remove your kale chips from the oven. It is supposed to be dry and crispy, like the leaves, the dry leaves in the fall. So what I do is I put this in the oven 375 degrees for about 3 minutes, and then I turn the temperature all the way down to 200 and let it dry out slowly. and you would test it. You would open the oven and test it and see what it feels like. And if you get that sound that I just described to you, like walking through leaves in the fall, dry leaves in the fall in the park, if you hear that sound, then you know that your kale chips, that they're done. Okay, so now we're gonna put this into the 375 degree oven, and then after 3 minutes you turn it down all the way down to 200, and I would say it would be done in about 10 or 15 minutes. Again, you have to check, because like I keep saying, all ovens are different, and you have to get a thermometer in the hardware store to test the correct temperature of your oven. So the thing, I cannot say to you put it in for 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I would say on average about 15 minutes at 200 degrees. So I'm gonna check on my kale chips now. So as you see, you hear that sound? It's like leaves in the fall, walking through the leaves in the fall. This is the sound you want to hear. So the kale chips is done. That's it. And I hope you make kale chips for your family, and especially for your children. Instead of giving them potato chips, they can take this to school as a snack. They're gonna do much better in school. Okay, so I hope you make this, and take care, and don't forget to subscribe. Take care. Bye bye.